bringing you key insights, tips, and advice from the brightest minds in the Canadian franchising industry. This is the Franchise Canada Chats podcast. Welcome to the Franchise Canada Chats podcast, where we take you into the world of franchising. Our interviews are with franchisors, franchisees, and industry leaders who give on-the-pulse expert advice and insights. I'm your co-host Trisha, and you're listening to Season 2, Episode 19. And we got to speak to MaidPro's David Buckler. So to give you a little bit of background of what MaidPro is all about, MaidPro is one of the top cleaning services in the country, and they believe in taking the dirt off your hands and your home. And they've seen massive growth in terms of franchise locations in the US and in Canada. David spoke to us about his business and how it's evolved over the last 10 years. He also talked about his recruitment process and what that was like. Some things he wasn't prepared for when he first opened his business, and a lot more. So without further ado, here's our episode with David. Hi, David.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent.
Awesome. So let's just dive right in. What were you doing before you became a MaidPro franchisee?
I was in construction. I was a construction manager up until 2008, when construction basically came to a screeching halt. And I had to find something different to do. I was remortgaging my house at the same time, and my mortgage broker actually came to me and said, "Hey, I've been looking at this franchise opportunity, and I know you're unemployed and have some money." So he actually was the one that talked me into trying it out.
Why did you choose MaidPro? I mean, that's kind of quite the leap from construction to a cleaning service.
I was involved with a different franchise. I won't name them in the service business before, so I had a lot of experience in it. I actually said no when my partner at the time suggested a Maid franchise. I said, not a chance. I've done the service industry before, and I'm not interested. We flew down to Boston. He said, well, let's go tour their office anyways, and I went down for the tour and actually changed my mind in a single day just by seeing their office, their support system, meeting the founders, Mark and Richard, and their team. I was just so blown away by the support network that I couldn't say no.
Was that the number one thing that kind of drew you to it? Was that support system in place?
Yes, and the opportunity to be the first one in Canada. They were purely U.S. when we joined, and they, right from the start, said it's going to be a very collaborative relationship. We haven't done Canada before. We understand you've been in a franchise before, so and it has been up until today. I mean, we're still in a very collaborative relationship, and they bounce a lot of ideas off me, and most of it is translatable between the U.S. and Canada, but some things just aren't. So,
And whereabouts are you located?
I'm in Calgary, Alberta. I have 2 offices here just to cover the size of the city, and I also have another office in Burlington, Ontario.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So are you from the West Coast?
Yeah, I grew up in British Columbia, in Kelowna to be specific, and spent a couple of years in Vancouver, and then moved to Calgary when I discovered it's really tough to make money in British Columbia.
And so why did you do a Burlington location? Why did you head over to Ontario?
Burlington was another location that was struggling, and it was at the point of either sell or close. And again, I'm very involved with the franchise. I did not want to see a Canadian office close at that point, because I think at that point there was only 5 of us. So I took it over to keep it running and to basically get it to a better place where it would be more desirable for a new owner. And I just still have it at this point. It's been, I think, 4 years since we took over that location. And there's now 9 offices in Canada. So.
Wow, that's great.
From like 1 to 9. How did that, what was it first like when you started the business? How did Canadians receive MaidPro?
We actually really took off like a rocket. It's been, the market was for house cleaning is either independence, which that's never going to change, or at the time it was your options were kind of a few other older franchises that really haven't changed their model much over the years. We were quite well received. We do kind of bridge that gap between an independent cleaner and a professional company, and we're all about the customer service, and yeah, it's done really well.
Do you remember your first day?
I do. It was terrifying. The first week was pretty terrifying, just staring at the phone in an empty office going, ring, come on.
Yeah, how do you even begin? I mean, is the first step just to start cold calling and get clients?
MaidPro is really, really good at doing the first 2 years of a franchise. They had the plan, and I mean, I just followed the model, got the name out there. I have found in Canada we have to be a little bit more customer facing, as in we got to get out and go do the home shows and the trade shows, and people want to see your face and know who they're doing business with. Mm-hmm. So I try to do a lot of that, a lot of local events. We did 3 this year, from a garden show to a street fair to a dog show. There was an awful lot of that, and just going around face to face and getting involved in the community to get our name out there. And MaidPro is really, really good on the online end, helping you get the customers through the web. They have an amazing website, and they've been really helpful in getting that all optimized for Canada. And we do probably upwards of 300 quotes a month.
Wow, that's crazy. So what would, when you first started, what did a typical day look like for you? And now, how long has it been since you opened your business? 10 years?
It was 10 years in February.
Oh, wow, congratulations.
Yeah, initially, I mean, it was 10-hour days, and I mean, that really never changes as a business owner. Your day doesn't really stop just because it's 5 o'clock. But I went from, coming in at 7 in the morning and working until 6 at night, and to nowadays, I've got a full staff that's smarter and better looking than me. I usually roll in about 10 in the morning, and I stay until 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and
awesome. Yeah. Wow.
As like you've had to go to shows and all this kind of stuff to promote your franchise, has that kind of shifted, like that kind of responsibility shifted towards the staff, or do you kind of still do things to promote MaidPro?
You have to. I mean, MaidPro is always promoting on their end, but it is, again, a very local business, and people want to know who they're dealing with, so I'm constantly doing those shows, either me or my sales manager, just getting out there and meeting people. We're rarely trying to sell stuff when we go do those shows. We're just trying to get our face out there, and then people remember us when it's ready for a cleaning.
It seems like you have to be kind of like an entrepreneurial type to kind of enjoy that, like to, get out there and put yourself out there, and you have to kind of be confident, you have to have these skills and stuff like that. Would you agree with that, or are there certain skills you kind of have to be successful?
That's probably the most important skill that I had to learn, because I came from construction where you've got to know, more technical details. You don't really have to know the people. You got to be able to read plans and turn it into reality. This is really a people business, and you have to be really comfortable talking to people all the time and interviewing all the time and talking to clients and pros, which is what we call cleaners. And that's probably taken the longest for me. I'm a bit of an introvert, so just learning to put yourself out there and be yourself and say what you do and do what you say is one of my key business mottos.
Have you noticed that since you're now an established business owner that you're less of an introvert, or do you still find that that's something that's a quality that you still have?
Yeah.
Personally, I would say I'm still probably an introvert. But as far as the franchise goes, I mean, we just had our convention last weekend. Nobody in the franchise knows I'm an introvert, so it's a skill that you, I guess, develop. That you have to be comfortable putting yourself out there. And while I may still feel the same inside, that's not the face of the business owner. The business owner that my fellow franchisees know and that my clients know is a lot more outgoing than I think I am. So,
how many do you have? Any staff? And if so, how many do you have?
Yeah, I think we're currently sitting at 42, and that's cleaners and office staff. And we're constantly looking for good people. It's been a tougher environment in Alberta for the last several years. So we haven't grown as fast as we did in the first 5 years. But we are constantly hiring and interviewing, and it's a tough job. I mean, it's at the end of the day, you're cleaning toilets. So
when you
it doesn't tend to have a real long employee base. Probably the majority of our employees go through in about 18 months, but we've got people that have been with us for 10 years as well.
Wow. When you first started, did you have cleaning staff in place, or were you actually going on call yourself and doing that work as well?
In 10 years, I've only been on 3 cleans. When I first started, the franchise did have a rule right in the contract that the owners couldn't clean. And that was probably a really good thing, or I wouldn't have had many customers. I'm still not a great cleaner. I go out on when we do charity cleans. I'm typically there right beside the girls working. If there's one of the cleans that I did was on a Christmas Eve where we were still working late, and went out to help to make sure that the staff was getting off at a decent time. But it's really important as an entrepreneur that you're working on your business rather than in it.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's always been my philosophy. So,
can you elaborate on that, on your business rather than in it?
If you're working in it, there's a really great book. It's a short read if you're on a plane or something, called The E-Myth. And it talks about a cake maker that started her own business, and she was still baking every day. There is so much that you have to do as a business owner to grow your business that if you're actually working in it every day, you just don't have the chance to get to those, whether it be marketing or going to do these events, the trade shows and the face-to-face meetings with the Chamber of Commerce. And that's the kind of stuff that you need to do to build your business. And if you're actually working in it, you rarely find the time to go and do that, or the energy.
When you first started, did MaidPro help you kind of, when you're developing your own list of employees for cleaning services, did they provide you with some sort of contact list, or did they help you get that going?
They absolutely help you with the marketing, but after that, it's up to you to do the interviewing, and they have some guidelines for new owners on important questions to ask in interviews and to help you through the interview process. They'll also do some practice interviews with you to help you get a little bit more familiar with that. Probably the biggest skill that you really need, though, is finding and retaining good employees, and that's something that just comes with time. It's really hard to teach. So one of the great things about being part of a franchise, though, is not only do I have the home office support, I've got 250 other owners that are going through the same thing. So what head office can't help me with, I put out to our owners groups, whether it be through Facebook or we've got some internal communication, and I can get help from owners who are actually sitting in the chair doing the same job as me.
Yeah, that sounds really nice. I think that's one of the things that a lot of franchisees say is like the best part about franchising is that they're not, like, rather than starting a business, is that they always have that support and they can rely on that, on people going through the same thing to give them the advice they need or anything like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I absolutely don't know if I would have made it 10 years if I wasn't part of the franchise, because there's days when you're just like, oh my God, what have I done here? And the support group is just amazing. There's other owners, you'll post something like that on Facebook, and all of a sudden other owners will be like, oh man, I went through the same thing like 5 years ago. You just got to keep your head down and keep going. And that support network is awesome. And even head office realizes, they say 50% of your support is going to come from us. The other 50 is from the other owners.
When you first started, how long was it before you kind of got your first client? Was it a couple months or was it a couple weeks?
Oh no, we had a pretty aggressive marketing strategy to start. I think we had probably 15 clients in the first month.
Oh, wow.
We hit 90 clients, which is about where the business breaks even operationally at about 3.5 months. So we went really quick, and that comes with its own problems. When you're growing too fast, it gets tough, your quality slips, and we had to learn that lesson and slow the pace down of growth a bit. And
yeah, for sure.
The business, stuff like that. Interesting. So what would you say is your favorite part about running a MaidPro franchise?
My favorite part about running a business period is seeing an employee get their first car, get their first house. We have a lot of single moms that have been through issues in their past. To see them be able to develop themselves because of what I've built, that really gets me right in the warm spot. The franchise is probably the other owners. I mean, over the years, I've made such amazing friends that are in the exact same spot as me. They know exactly what I'm going through. They go through the same issues, and we're able to just get straight to business and support each other both emotionally and operationally.
Yeah.
Are the other owners like in the same, would you say, like, are they kind of similar to you, or like they're very different? Do you guys have like a diverse?
It's really diverse. Yeah, they come from all backgrounds and people that I didn't think would make it. And for whatever reason, we have a pretty big contingent of engineers, which I guess really like the structure of a franchise.
Wow.
And the biggest challenge they tend to have is it is more of a people business than they're used to. But we have people from all different walks of life.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to hear. It's interesting that you said that there was kind of those feel-good stories as well.
Yeah.
That's always like a nice added bonus.
So sweet.
Yeah, it's just like a nice story when you can help someone get their career going, right?
Is there any like, so you mentioned a single mother, is there any kind of like a story that kind of sticks out to you of one of your employees that moves you or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple that have left on maternity leave and come back, and one has actually been back twice. She's had 2 kids since she's been with us, and she's now hasn't come back after the second one just because she found that it was getting tough with the daycare. We had one girl that started with us when she was still in high school and was with us for about 6 years, and then went back to school while she was working with us. I went to her graduation from that. She's now working in medical administration and loves it and still loves us and still comes to visit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. If you could give any advice to prospective franchisees or new business owners, what would it be?
Especially if you've never done business before, franchising is so helpful. Again, you've got that network of people that are going through the same thing with you. I would absolutely recommend, if you haven't been in business before, that franchise is the way to do at least your first business. Research the franchise. Don't just talk to the franchisor. Again, I mean, me personally, I made my decision by going to see the franchisor, but I also did my homework. I went and visited a couple of offices before we opened, learned their experience with the franchisor, their experience with the business, period. I think that's really important when you're getting into a franchise, is to also talk to the franchisees, as many as you can beforehand. Try to find ones that are in the same type of market as you are. If you're in a urban city, you're going to want to talk to somebody that's operating in an urban city. If you're in a suburban or rural market, then make sure you're talking to somebody that's in that same type of area, just to get an idea of the challenges that they face.
Yeah, it's a good idea to definitely do your homework before you kind of jump into anything. And that's, did you feel though that was there anything, I guess, that you weren't prepared for though, even with all this kind of homework that you did?
I think I'd be lying if I said there wasn't. There's always things that you're not going to be prepared for. Whether it be the clients or the employees, or dealing with the vendors. It's a learning experience all the time, and the more resources you have to support you with that, the better off that you're going to be, and the easier the transition and the learning experience is going to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Better. Yeah.
What's next for you in your business?
We're going to keep on growing. We're looking at offering secondary services. MaidPro is actually in a partnership with Men in Kilts in the USA, just not in Canada yet. So we're in Calgary. That happens to be the biggest Men in Kilts in the country. So I've made friends with the owner of Men in Kilts, and we're going to talk to them about a relationship to offer different services.
Cool.
I'd like to potentially start another location in Vancouver. I just think it'd be a great market, and that's, again, where I grew up, and I still have ties there.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds very exciting.
Well, do you still live in Calgary?
I do.
So how do you operate your Burlington location?
I've got a really great manager and systems, which is, again, a great thing about the franchise, is that there's systems in place. As long as you can find a person who can operate those systems properly, there's great reporting tools from our software that we can check on how their customer satisfaction is, the financial day-to-day. It's really finding a good person. I went through a couple of managers before I found the perfect fit for both my management style and the employees. And, I only get out there probably 3 times a year. I'm fairly brief.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool.
Living the life.
MaidPro style.
Yeah.
So are you ready, David, for this part of our section, which is called Franchise Fun?
Sure.
Well, yeah. So we're just going to ask you some rapid fire questions, and you can just respond maybe in a sentence, or maybe even just a one-word answer will do as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The most interesting thing I've done recently is?
Interesting. I went to Tijuana because we had a convention in San Diego, and the rest of the convention didn't go particularly well. So it was interesting. It wasn't necessarily fun.
Okay.
Cool.
A good franchisor is?
Somebody who listens and operates collaboratively with the franchisees.
In its best form, work is?
Fun.
We get that a lot.
Yeah.
That answer a lot.
Yeah, we do. The most important thing in my life is?
My family, extended, and I'm including my business family in that.
Mm-hmm. If I could meet anyone, it would be?
I have to go a little personal on that. It'd be my grandfather. He died when I was really young, so I don't really remember him.
That's a nice one.
Canadian franchising is?
Yeah, Canadian franchising is great.
And finally, one necessary item on my life's to-do list is?
Travel.
Oh, okay. Where do you want to go?
Everywhere.
Good answer.
Yeah, I literally have one of those maps on the wall that came off Facebook where you scratch off the countries you've been to, and man, it's a big, big world out there. So.
Yeah, I have one of those as well. When you see it and you're like, wow, I thought I've traveled a lot, but not really, because there's like 50 other countries. Is there anywhere in particular that you want to go that you haven't been?
Southeast Asia. So Thailand, Vietnam, even China, but that's probably a separate trip.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, that's on my to-do list too.
Oh yeah.
One day. That's great. Thanks for joining us today,
Thanks,
David.
Really appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. Yourself a great day, I guess. Still day in
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Day.
Have a good weekend too.
Awesome. Thank you both, and thanks for CFA for doing this.
Oh, no problem. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. If you'd like to learn more, visit franchisecanada.online. And if you're interested in the franchise opportunity, go to lookforfranchise.ca.